Broadcasting from Park Avenue West, you're watching WMFD Television, Channel 68.1, Mansfield.
This program discusses sensitive mental health issues, including suicide. Viewer discretion is advised.
So I will be honest, the first couple months after he passed away, I didn't leave the house.
Maybe an hour after we got the message that we lost Danny, Danny's sister said to us, we were all crying, and she says, "What do we do? What do we tell people?" And I'm like, "Baby, we got to tell them the truth. This is nothing that can be hidden, because otherwise the suicide will win."
We're not mental health professionals. It's just something that happened to our family. We direct people other places. And most important of all, I think, don't quit. Keep fighting. Keep living. Things will get better.
Welcome to Sparking the Conversation. We are 33 Forever, and I'm Donna Heck, and this is my husband, Jeff Heck. Jeff and I are so excited to be able to bring you weekly half-hour messages, stories, and resources surrounding mental health topics and challenges. This show's purpose and hope is to provide both information and inspiration, making conversations about mental health the norm.
Our guest tonight is Stephanie Zader. Stephanie is a real estate agent, investor, serial entrepreneur, Mansfield City Councilwoman, and like us, a suicide loss survivor. She describes herself as just hoping to leave this world a little better than she found it. Welcome to Sparking the Conversation, Stephanie. We're really glad you're here tonight.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So tonight, even though you're a very busy woman, you wear a lot of hats in this area. The one thing that we're going to talk about is a hat no one wants to wear tonight, and that is a very specific hat, and that is as a suicide survivor. So tell us, if you would, first of all, I do want to tell you, Don and I are very sorry for your loss. It's a terrible loss, as we well know as well, but it's the one thing that we have in common, and that's how we really became acquainted as well as we have been so far. And if you would, we'd love to hear your story tonight and that of your brother Jeff. So tell us about Jeff, would you?
Jeff was always the life of the party. He loved to make you laugh and to laugh. The stories that I would hear about him and his friends, sometimes I just didn't know how to react to it because the things that they would do. But he always struggled personally, so he internalized a lot of things, and I would get phone calls sometimes late at night just trying to talk things through and trying to help him see that there was still hope. And those phone calls continued until the last call that we had. I had moved to Texas about a month and a half before that call, and that hopelessness was stronger than any I'd ever heard. And it's so crazy how someone can go from being the life of the party and so happy and so bubbly and making everyone laugh to that extreme hopelessness. But yeah, he was an amazing kid.
Now, he is your younger brother, correct?
Yep. I have three, well, I actually have 5 younger siblings, 3 that I grew up with, and he is the second youngest.
Okay. So. Yeah, that is just so tragic. The similarity, though, of someone being the life of the party, being the center of attention, and it's as though they're wearing that mask for everyone to see, so no one will ever dig in to ask, is something wrong? Is anything going on? So you obviously witnessed that.
Yeah. That was definitely the big thing, is people didn't see the person behind the person, I guess.
And I think there are a lot of people, and we saw that with Danielle too, which was that we saw a lot of times that she was the one who was helping other people. And it sounded like from our conversations before the show tonight that really that was kind of Jeff's story too, that people didn't necessarily know he was struggling at all, and he was maybe their go-to. Is that kind of how you remember it? Yeah,
so I always say that Jeffrey was never one to like to, especially girls, he never liked to see girls cry. It's definitely not his sisters. But yeah, he was that person that all of his friends went to. And unless you were really close to him, you didn't know. I mean, even some of his closer friends didn't know the darkness that he experienced sometimes.
Did your brother ever take any medication or counseling prior to that phone call?
So, interestingly enough, one of the things that led up to this was he got into a fight over basketball, and he had some head trauma from that, and he had been in the hospital for that. And they put him on an antidepressant while he was in the hospital. Prior to that, he had been on some medications and stuff, but he wasn't up until that time in recent history. But he was on, and I don't know the name of the medication, but he was on one at that time. And that was a big concern of mine, as it seemed like that actually amplified the hopelessness.
And you know, that is a side effect that we know from certain antidepressants, that some people actually have the opposite effect of them. And I think the one thing that you can take away from that, I think we saw that with Danielle too. Not every medication works for every person, right. And it's important to recognize, okay, that's not so good for me. I need to go back to my doctor. I need to get a different kind of prescription. I need to get something different that actually does work, because there are a lot of choices, and the doctors will help with that. So, yeah. So, but Jeff didn't get the chance to have that.
Right. We. Unfortunately, he had moved away from family too, up to northern Ohio, and he was kind of isolated from family, and he just didn't have the support that he generally would have had, that would have been checking in on him and making sure that he was okay. I think that maybe if that hadn't, I hate to go down the road of if that hadn't happened or this hadn't happened, but I think that definitely if you watch a person who's struggling, you see the signs, you know when that's coming, if you're there every day and you get to.
But we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Stephanie and talking about suicide and the loss of her dear brother, Jeff.
Hope 419 is more than just a medication or therapy session. Our foundation is built around hope. We aim to provide the highest standard of care, equipping every patient with coping skills necessary for success. What do we hope for? We aim to provide our patients with a better balanced and more resilient self. In-person and virtual visits now available with locations in Mansfield and Ashland. Visit us today at hope419.com.
Hi, I'm Joda Magruder-Polk with Richland County Children's Services. You can make a difference in a child's life. Become a Richland County Children's Services foster care parent. Richland County Children's Services has an average of 120 children in custody with close to 60 foster homes. Out of the 120 children, 30% of them are teenagers. These are children who, through no fault of their own, need a safe and loving home. Foster homes for teens are especially needed. We need people willing to open their hearts and homes to the teenagers that so badly need stability and structure in their lives as they grow into adulthood. These children often have trauma and are longing for a loving family and a place to call home. Please call today, 419-774-4100. That's 419-774-4100. Learn more about the impact you can make by being a foster parent for Richland County Children's Services.
If we could say one thing to her, I think what we would let her know is how important she was to us.
And I wish that I hadn't been so reluctant to confront him.
Be a friend, listen to him, and get him help.
I am so glad someone reminded me that I'm worth it and will always be worth it.
I'm glad that I have people now that support what I want to do in my dream of helping other people.
This program discusses sensitive mental health issues, including suicide. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back to Sparking the Conversation. We're here tonight with Stephanie Zader. Stephanie is a local entrepreneur, business person, city councilwoman for the city of Mansfield, real estate agent. She's got a lot of hats. We were talking earlier about that hat that we wear and you wear, and that is as a suicide survivor. So what we want to make sure that the audience understands is what really is a suicide survivor. Some people don't understand that definition. They think it's someone who's actually attempted to take their life. But a suicide survivor is a friend or a family member of one who has died by suicide. And so, again, not a club anybody wants to be a member of, and we're sorry that we're a part of that club too with you. So, but the one thing I think is important, you were talking about it right before we went off on the break, was medications. And you watched Jeff on medication very shortly before you lost him, and that the medication really wasn't working and seemed to be making it worse. And you talked about that, but had he been, you had mentioned previously, had he been taking medication previously, or was that the first time he really was taking any?
So, well, we grew up in foster care, and medication is just kind of par for the course. And I could go into a long thing about that. I won't go into it. But so all of us were on medications on and off growing up, new things being tried or whatever. But yeah, he had been on medication. But as far as I know, he had not been on medication probably for, I would say, probably at least 10 years before that.
So really, since he was a teenager, he hadn't been on any at all.
Yeah.
So this was kind of a new entrance back into that antidepressant world, which, again, they're amazing drugs if you get the right one.
Right.
And obviously that wasn't Jeff's case.
Yeah, this was prescribed by an emergency room doctor. He said that he was not, kind of told him where he was at in life because of everything that was happening. He had been in the hospital, so it wasn't someone like a long-term doctor that he'd been visiting that prescribed it. And I think that may have been part of the issue. There wasn't a lot of follow-up after that. It was prescribed, and then
yeah, that's absolutely a message that needs to be shared, that if you're on any type of medication, especially for mental health issues, it has to be followed up with a doctor, a psychiatrist. Mental health is not taught very well for our nurse practitioners, our doctor friends.
The primary care doctors,
yes,
we have learned that a lot of them don't have a lot of training, and they're just going by kind of what the book says.
Yeah. Right.
Which isn't always the best thing. In an emergency room doctor, you're going to see him once and you're done.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm sure that did not help in any way. But you have been with your brother your entire life. One thing that we have found with our kids, the loss of a sibling, I know Jeff has some statistics, but it has to be one of the greatest loss. We lost our girl, but in 40 years, I might not be here, I've lost 40 years with her. You guys were losing 50, 60, just depending, an entire lifetime. Yeah. And do you get help? Did you get any help after you lost him?
I didn't. We had moved out of state, and my husband was traveling for work. So I will be honest, the first couple months after he passed away, I didn't leave the house. I didn't get out of bed most days. So,
it's a very tough time, isn't it? And it's something. Let's talk just a minute about what that means for a sibling that's lost someone else, because I've seen that there's actually a book out there that's sort of the Forgotten Survivor. I think that's what it's called. And our son, he said, he's told us this story many times, where someone would come up to him and they'd say, after we lost Annie, they'd say to him, "How's your mom doing?" And he's like, "She's not good, but what about me?" Yeah. And that's the thing I think that siblings have a really tough time with, is sometimes they're, I'm sure, worried about their parents, worried about their other siblings. And it can be very difficult on the family relationships too. And I think you experienced some of that yourself, didn't you?
Yeah. Ours was kind of a unique situation. Like I said, we grew up in foster care. My sister and Jeffrey, my brother, were adopted by a family, and then myself and my other brother, my other brother was adopted by another woman, and then I aged out of the system because by the time we went up for adoption, I was a teenager, and to be frank, people don't want to adopt teenagers. So when this happened, we had all kind of lived a little bit separate lives. So there was, I think that was kind of amplified for myself, and I know it was amplified for my youngest brother. He had always felt like he was distanced because he didn't get to grow up with us from a young age. And, but I think my sister was probably the most forgotten person because we felt like we missed out, and then we forgot that, she grew up with him. And it fractured our relationship. Until a couple of months ago, my sister had not spoke to my brother and I in probably about 3 years, which is sad because that's over half the time that he's been gone.
And there's another loss, right? Yeah.
And now it's, when you don't talk for that long, you feel like you don't even know each other anymore. So my sister has a little girl, and that I missed out on the first year of her life, pretty much. But now it's wonderful to get to know her. And my youngest brother has a son who's actually named after Jeffrey, and he acts just like him. He is the life of the party, and he is about 2.5 years old, and he calls me Nene. He loves his Nene. And sometimes he'll just turn around and he'll get that look on his face, and it just takes you back, to when Jeffrey was that age. But it's like getting a piece of him back in a way. We call him JJ. Sometimes it's a little hard to call him Jeffrey. But there was a time where he was at our house. He spends a lot of time at our house. And I called him JJ, and he looked at me, and he said, "I'm not JJ, I'm Jeffrey." And I lost it. I had to run out of the room. I went into the bathroom, and I just sat there and I cried because he didn't know what he had just said.
Right. There's so many different aspects and pieces and parts. We need to take a quick break. We will be right back talking with Stephanie Zader about her brother and on Sparking the Conversation.
33 Forever was founded by the family and friends of Danielle Leedy.
Our amazing daughter, who was a vibrant, strong, professional young woman, lost a long battle to chronic depression in February of 2019.
33 Forever was created to both honor Danny's life, as well as her longtime passion to raise awareness and empower those struggling with depression, anxiety, self-worth, and suicidal thoughts.
Visit our website to learn more. We are 33 Forever.
Oh, can we stop? It's McDonald's. Please, can we stop?
Oh, please. Come on, it's right there.
Please.
Yes! Yes!
Get the shareable $8.99 bundle with the 20-piece chicken McNuggets and 2 large fries.
In 1961, Les Gribling and investors built a road race course. This summer, we celebrate the 60th season of racing at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. The legendary road course in Lexington, Ohio will showcase some of the premier motorsports events in America, welcoming fans back for a full slate of races. Make Mid-Ohio a part of your summer. Kids 12 and under are always free, so get your tickets today at midohio.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Trollian, the Executive Director for the Richland County Mental Health and Recovery Services Board. Addiction to drugs and alcohol create a personal struggle as well as impact those around you. You are not alone. We have many professionals and organizations who care. Reach out for help today. Know it before you need it. Visit Know It, the letter B, the number 4, the letter U, needit.com.
Brought to you by the Richland County Mental Health and Recovery Services Board, growing and preserving a legacy of hope and success within our community.
Saturday Night Flashback.
This is Sheila D.
And this is Mike Tyler.
Join us every Saturday night from 6 until midnight for the Saturday Night Flashback.
On Mix 106.1.
Mix 106.1.
Welcome back to Sparking the Conversation. We're here with Stephanie Zader, and Stephanie is a suicide survivor. She lost her brother at the age of 23. We do want to put on the screen, if you or anyone you know who is struggling with suicide, you can call the Suicide prevention hotline at 1-800-273-TALK, which is 1-800-273-8255. Or if you want to text the word HOPE to 741-741. And again, it's not necessarily you that's in crisis. It can be if you're calling for your brother. And I think there were some, you realized he was in crisis that night, didn't you?
Yeah, he called me, and we talked for forever. And there was a time difference. It was getting really late. And my husband was actually home that weekend from traveling, so I cut it off. Yeah, I just said that I talked him through, and I thought I got him to a point where he was okay. And then the next morning, I called everybody that I could to try to get them to go talk to him. That night, I texted a couple of people to try to get them to go check on him. And then the next day, he was gone. Not the day that I was calling everyone, but the following day.
So I think the message from that is what, from you? I mean, from your personal experience, you know how important it is to be checking on people, to bug them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it was definitely, there was a lot that could have been done, and I'm not gonna lay any blame at anyone's feet or anything. I did that when
we all do.
We all, absolutely.
When we first started going through this, but there definitely could have been more done, I think, and I think that falls on all of us. I think we all get busy in our own lives, in our own world, and if someone called us and they said, I have cancer, we would be, what do you need? What can we do? But someone calls and they say, I feel like I've lost my entire world and everything's falling apart, and we think, toughen up.
Yep.
If you've got a message of hope or a message of what's the message you would like to leave our audience with tonight as you think about it, and based on our conversation tonight.
I think the biggest thing that this experience has taught me or showed me is that well, first of all, he reached out to me. So now when someone comes to me, I take it very seriously. And our whole family takes it differently when someone reaches out. In fact, a friend of his just reached out to me last week, and he was struggling because he's going through a separation. And I've taken it seriously. I did not let him get off the phone without promising me that he was going to get in with a counselor or someone to talk with them. And I told him, I will text you tomorrow morning first thing, and if you don't answer me, I'm calling you. And if you don't answer my call, I'm coming to your house. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that now, as tragic as it was, it equipped me to help people when they're in that situation.
And your message is equipping so many people to do that when they hear that message of despair, to call for help if they need help, and just to be there in their face over and over. Yeah. And that is a beautiful life-saving message.
Well, and the other thing I think we get from that is, and we've said this before, if the worst thing that happens is you overreacted and you make that person mad at you, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If they don't want to talk to me for a year, but I did it anyway,
yep.
If that's the worst thing that happens, I'll live with it.
Yep.
On the other hand, if you made the right call and you saved their life, then that's a risk I know you are, we are willing to take.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's an important message. I think, Stephanie, we want to thank you so much for being here tonight and telling your story to our audience. I think it's really important. You've done an amazing job demonstrating your resilience, but at the same time, you're in that club. And we appreciate your sharing your story so much and telling us about Jeff tonight. So we will be back in a minute with our memory moment, and I hope you'll stick around as we continue to spark the conversation here on WMFD.
Hope 419 is more than just a medication or therapy session. Our foundation is built around hope. We aim to provide the highest standard of care, equipping every patient with coping skills necessary for success. What do we hope for? We aim to provide our patients with a better balanced and more resilient self. In-person and virtual visits now available with locations in Mansfield and Ashland. Visit us today at hope419.com. Catalyst Life Services, a comprehensive behavioral health organization, has been serving the community for 70 years. Our wide array of wraparound services and our ability to treat the whole person is what sets us apart. It's everything you need in one place: mental health, crisis, detox and addiction services, case management, and peer recovery support. We even offer vocational programming to get you back to work. Catalyst Life Services. Call today and get the help you need.
Twin Lakes Golf Course is affordable golf for the whole family. Play their beautiful 18-hole course for as low as $24 with a cart. Twin Lakes is designed to challenge golfers of all skill levels. And with their remodeled pavilion and course improvements, it's the perfect place for your next tournament or golf outing. Twin Lakes Golf Course, 2220 Marion Avenue Road in Mansfield. Call now for tee times.
Welcome back to Sparking the Conversation, and this is the segment of our program that we call the Memory Moment. And tonight, Donna, you want to introduce the Memory Moment?
Yep, the memory moment is very special tonight. Back on Danielle's birthday, right after we lost her, we did a Facebook virtual event, and our son put together a clip of Danielle's laughter. So Danny's laugh was the most incredible laugh you've ever heard, so I want you to listen to a little bit of this.
Maybe that's why I usually win. Cheater.
Oh, upside down.
Be her and I talking on the phone and just laughing.
I had to pick one thing that I missed most about Danny. It's that incredible laugh and just being able to pick up the phone and call her anytime I needed her.
I'm videoing. You're allowed to move.
Needless to say, we have a lot of fun with Danielle, and that memory will last forever, so I hope you enjoyed that.
I always hear her laugh in my head, even on the worst days where we're missing her a lot. That's really what kind of keeps me going a lot of times, is just the memory of that laugh, and literally it would fill the entire room up.
It really did. It was her light and her laugh. And on that video, you didn't see all of it, but that's what everyone said that they would miss the most, is her laugh.
Yep, and we do. So thanks for joining us tonight. We've had another great episode of Sparking the Conversation. Make sure you join us again every week and next week as we bring another great guest to you here on WMFD and Sparking the Conversation. Good night.